March 13th, 2022. A man slips into the Yalu River. The water temperature is 34 degrees. Cold enough to kill him in 15 minutes. But hypothermia isn't what he's worried about. He's swimming toward North Korea, not away from it, toward it. 3 years ago, he crawled out of this exact river half dead after a 5-month escape through China, Laos, and Thailand. He made it to Seoul. He was free. Now he's going back. If the guards catch him, they won't just shoot him, they'll execute his entire family. 3 generations erased for one man's decision. Over 33,000 people have fled North Korea since 1998. Not a single one has ever tried to go back, until now. And he's got 72 hours before the entire regime realizes a man just crossed the river of no return in reverse. What could make a free man swim back into hell? And what happens if North Korea catches him? May 2016. Kim Kang-woo is 20 years old when he wades into the Yalu River for the first time, heading the other direction. Behind him, a village where neighbors report neighbors for extra rice rations, where public executions happen in town squares on market days, where his father died 2 years earlier attempting this same crossing. His body never recovered, swept downstream by the current that carries so many broken promises toward the Yellow Sea. Ahead, 5 months of walking through China, Laos, and Thailand, dodging traffickers and border police, sleeping in truck beds and drainage pipes, eating scraps and drinking rainwater. He survives on one promise. He will return for his mother. 3 years. That is what he tells her before he leaves. Wait 3 years, and I will get you out. He keeps that promise, or tries to. By 2019, Kim has worked every job Seoul offers. Construction crews from 6 in the morning until 4, hauling cinder blocks until his hands crack. The mattress factory from 5 until midnight, folding foam and loading trucks. 14-hour days, 7 days a week, for 36 consecutive months. His co-workers think he is saving for a car or an apartment. They joke about his dedication. He never corrects them, but he is saving for a human life. The going rate for a defection broker, a smuggler who can move a person from North Korea through China to Southeast Asia and finally to the south, is $20,000. The price fluctuates based on border tension, bribery costs, and how many middlemen need to be paid. Kim scrapes together $22,000 just to be safe. He converts his wages into cash and stores the bills in a lockbox under his bed. He finds a broker through the defector network in Seoul, a man with a reputation for completing extractions without losing clients. He pays in full. He waits by his phone for the call that will tell him his mother crossed the river. The call comes in November 2019, but his mother's voice on the other end is not triumphant. It is terrified. Something went wrong at the rendezvous point, a miscommunication, a dropped signal, a panicked abort when she heard footsteps. She could not go through with it. By the time she gathered her nerve, the window had closed. The broker vanished with the money. $22,000, 36 months of labor, every one Kim had earned, evaporated in a single botched phone call. Kim does not scream. He does not hire a lawyer or file a police report. He does something far more dangerous. He decides that systems cannot be trusted. Governments failed, brokers failed, and even money failed. The only variable he can control is himself. The transformation happens in stages. By day, Kim remains the polite stock clerk at a Seoul mattress store, smiling at customers, folding delivery receipts, answering questions about memory foam densities. By night, he becomes someone else entirely. He downloads satellite imagery of the North Korean border from civilian mapping services and prints it in sections, taping the pages together until his apartment wall is covered with a 6-foot mosaic of the Yalu River basin. He marks guard tower positions with red pins, patrol intervals with blue string, known minefields with yellow highlighter. He cross-references defector testimonies for blind spots, places where the terrain creates shadows, where the searchlights overlap poorly, where a swimmer might slip through undetected. He runs along the Han River after midnight with a weighted pack strapped to his back, 15 kilograms of sand stuffed into a duffel bag. He imagines the weight is his mother. He imagines the riverside path as the North Korean forest. He imagines the distant city lights are searchlights hunting for him. He practices stillness. He lies motionless on his apartment floor for 4 hours at a stretch, training his body to suppress the urge to shift, to cough, to scratch an itch, to breathe loudly. He times himself with a stopwatch. By the 3rd month, he can hold absolute stillness for 6 hours without moving a single muscle. He teaches himself to become invisible. Over 6 months, Kim acquires gear piece by piece to avoid suspicion. Black thermal clothing from an outdoor sports store, paid for in cash. A waterproof dry bag from a camping supply shop in a different district. Compact rations designed for hikers, calorie-dense bars that require no cooking. A survival knife with an 8-inch blade, the kind hunters use for field dressing deer. He hopes the knife stays in its sheath. He trains with it anyway, grip drills, strike angles, disarm counters. He knows the blade might be the difference between his mother's freedom and his own death. In early 2020, Kim books a one-way flight to Shenyang, China. No goodbyes, notes, or forwarding address. From Shenyang, he travels north by bus and foot to a town on the Yalu River whose name he never records, operational security, even in his own mind. He spends 48 hours on the Chinese bank, crouched in underbrush with binoculars, logging guard rotations down to the minute. He fills a small notebook with timestamps, patrol routes, flashlight sweeps. On the 3rd night, he strips off his civilian clothes, pulls on the black thermals, and walks to the water's edge. He takes a rusted razor from his pocket and shaves his head. The hair drifts into the current. With it goes the refugee, the factory worker, the obedient citizen. What remains is an operator with a single mission objective. Kim Kang-woo steps into the Yalu River and swims toward North Korea. But the country he is entering has changed since he left. Border security has doubled after a series of high-profile defections. Surveillance drones patrol at night with infrared cameras, and the regime has developed a new protocol for captured defectors. Execute first, interrogate never. The old system, prison camps, forced labor, slow death by starvation, has been deemed inefficient. Now they simply shoot on sight. How long can one man survive in a nation of 26 million informants? And what happens when the guard he is about to encounter refuses to stay unconscious? The Yalu is 70 meters wide at the crossing point Kim selected, narrow enough to swim but deep enough to drown. The current fights him the entire way, a relentless lateral pull that adds 30 meters to his crossing distance. Hypothermia begins in water below 59 degrees Fahrenheit. The Yalu is running at 34. By the halfway mark, Kim's fingers have lost sensation. He knows they are still gripping because he can see them, not because he can feel them. By the 3/4 mark, his kick rate has dropped by half, legs turning sluggish, the cold seeping into his core. He forces his arms to keep moving through sheer repetition, muscle memory overriding the signals from his freezing nerves. Suddenly his boots hit the gravel, North Korean gravel, the same soil that killed his father, the same shore he swore he would never see again. He drags himself into a drainage culvert and lies there for 90 seconds, shivering violently, letting his heart rate drop below 140 before he moves again. The guard tower is 200 meters to his north, its searchlight sweeping in predictable arcs. The patrol will pass this sector in 6 minutes. He has a window. Kim crawls through scrub brush, staying below the sight line of the road, moving toward a ravine he identified on satellite imagery. The vegetation is sparse, stunted pines, dry grass, rocks that shift under his weight. Every sound he makes seems amplified in the stillness. If he can reach the ravine, he can follow it inland for 3 kilometers without crossing any open ground. He is 50 meters from the ravine when his boot lands on a dry branch. The crack echoes like a rifle shot in the silence. Kim freezes. Somewhere to his left, a voice barks a question in Korean. "Who's there?" A flashlight beam slices through the trees, probing the darkness, searching for the source. He presses himself against a pine trunk, hand closing around the knife handle. The beam sweeps closer. He can hear boots crunching leaves, maybe 20 meters away and closing. The guard is not calling for backup yet. That means he is not certain what he heard. If Kim stays silent, the man might walk past. If Kim breathes at the wrong moment, the man might fire. Then the flashlight stops moving. The guard has found the broken branch. He is staring at it, connecting dots. His rifle comes up. Kim explodes from cover. His left hand smashes the rifle barrel to the side. His right palm drives into the guard's throat. The soldier chokes, staggers, and squeezes the trigger reflexively. The shot punches into the sky, a flare announcing Kim's position to every patrol within a kilometer. The guard swings the rifle like a club. Kim ducks, loses his footing on the wet leaves, and crashes into the dirt. The soldier lunges for him, and Kim's hand finds a fist-sized rock. The impact makes a sound he will hear in nightmares for years. The guard drops, unconscious before he hits the ground. Kim checks for a pulse, alive, but out cold. He kicks the rifle into a ditch, then sprints into the ravine as whistles shriek behind him. Within seconds, the forest swallows him whole. The breach is complete. But the clock is now ticking in minutes, not hours. How far can he get before the entire border garrison mobilizes? And when they find the unconscious guard, what story will the man tell about the man who came out of the river? For 8 days, Kim moves through North Korea like a rumor. He walks only between 2 and 5 in the morning, when surveillance is thinnest and the guards are fighting sleep. He travels by moonlight when possible, by touch when necessary. He sleeps in haystacks, abandoned sheds, root cellars, and once inside a half-collapsed grain silo, where rats scurry over his legs in the darkness. He eats whatever he can find without stealing: wild roots, discarded vegetable scraps from compost piles, rainwater collected in his tarp. The landscape is familiar and alien at once. He recognizes the shape of the mountains, the smell of coal smoke from village chimneys, the particular brown of the dirt roads he walked as a child. But the roadside propaganda posters are new, larger, angrier, plastered with warnings about enemies and spies. The checkpoint frequency has tripled since his escape. Soldiers stand at every major intersection, demanding papers, searching bags, questioning travelers who look nervous. And his own voice sounds wrong. 3 years in Seoul softened his accent, rounded his vowels, and added South Korean slang he doesn't realize he's using. If anyone engages him in conversation, if a farmer asks where he is headed, or a soldier demands his name, he will be exposed within 30 seconds. On the 9th night, Kim reaches his home village. He crouches behind a woodpile at the edge of his mother's lane, watching her door. The house is smaller than he remembers, the walls more weathered, the roof patched with mismatched tiles. A candle flickers in the window. She is alive. He crosses the lane at a crouch and knocks 3 times, the pattern they agreed on before he left, a signal only they would recognize. The door opens a crack. His mother peers out, sees a mud-caked stranger with a shaved head and hollow eyes, and starts to close the door. "Alma," he whispers. "It's me." Her eyes widen. Her mouth opens, but no sound comes out. For 3 full seconds, she cannot speak. Then she grabs his collar and pulls him inside, her hands shaking so violently she can barely close the latch behind him. They hold each other in silence, rocking back and forth in the darkness. She is thinner than he remembers, and older. The lines around her eyes have deepened into permanent grooves. But she is alive, and she is holding him. And for one moment, nothing else matters. The reunion lasts 90 seconds before terror replaces joy. "They will kill you," she hisses, pulling back to look at his face. "They will kill us both. Are you insane? Why did you come back?" Kim grips her shoulders and outlines the plan. He has contacts on the Chinese side, a route mapped through the mountains, a window in 3 days when guard rotations align. Brokers are standing by to receive them. All she has to do is stay hidden until then. For 21 nights, Kim becomes a ghost inside his own childhood home. When neighbors visit, he wedges himself into a crawl space behind the wall panels, a gap 18 inches wide and 4 feet long, barely enough room to lie on his side with his knees bent. He stays motionless for hours while voices murmur on the other side of the wood, while footsteps pass inches from his head, while his legs cramp and his lungs burn for a full breath. At night, he hikes to a hilltop 2 kilometers away where a faint Chinese cell signal reaches, and he makes whispered calls to his broker contacts, coordinating extraction logistics in coded phrases. But the network is spooked. Word of an intruder at the border has filtered through the underground. The brokers think Kim's story is a trap. No one believes a defector would swim back into North Korea. It sounds like bait. Day after day, the extraction window slips further away. On the 22nd night, Kim hears the sound that ends everything. Tires on gravel, no headlights, engines cut early to minimize noise. He peers through a crack in the wall and sees a truck disgorging men in dark uniforms. Bowibu, the North Korean state security. They are moving house to house with flashlights and rifles, kicking in doors, shouting orders. His mother barely has time to whisper, "Hide!" before the door bursts inward. Kim slides into the crawl space and pulls the panel shut as boots flood the room. Through a slit in the wood, he watches 2 officers tear the house apart, dumping drawers, slashing the mattress, emptying the pantry, probing every shadow with flashlights. One beam stops on the wall panel. The officer raps his knuckles against it. The sound is hollow. Kim's hand tightens on the knife. If the panel opens, he will have less than 1 second to act. His mother's voice cuts through the tension. "Mice," she says calmly, pointing to the wall. "I hear them scurrying in there every night. Horrible creatures." The officer snorts, mutters something about wasted time and false leads, and waves his partner toward the door. 30 seconds later, the truck rumbles away. Kim waits 10 full minutes before emerging. His mother is trembling so hard she cannot stand. They both know the truth. The Bowibu will return. They will bring dogs next time. They will bring thermal cameras. And when they find him, they will not stop at execution. They will dismantle every relative he has, 3 generations erased from the earth. What does a man do when rescuing someone means destroying them? Kim is about to make the hardest decision of his life, and the answer will determine whether his mother lives or dies. Kim tells his mother at 3 in the morning. He speaks quietly, holding her hands in the candlelight, explaining what she already knows. If he stays, they both die. If he leaves, she might survive. The hunt will follow him. The Bowibu wants the defector who came back, the ghost who swam the river, attacked a soldier, and vanished into the forest. They do not care about an old woman in a village house. Not yet. She nods. She does not argue. She has spent her entire life under a regime that punishes hope, and she has learned to recognize when a door is closing. They embrace for the last time. He memorizes the feel of her arms around him, the particular pressure of her hands on his back, the smell of her hair, details he may never experience again. "I will come back for you," he says. She touches his face and does not answer. Some promises are too fragile for words. Before dawn, Kim slips out the back and vanishes into the hills. Behind him, his mother stands alone in a house the Bowibu will search again within 48 hours. He spends 2 days in the forest, surviving on creek water and the last of his rations, watching the border through binoculars. The security presence has tripled. Dogs patrol the banks in pairs, handlers shouting commands in the darkness. Floodlights illuminate the river in overlapping cones that leave almost no shadows. The crossing he made 9 days ago is now a kill zone. On the second night, a storm front rolls in from Manchuria. Rain hammers the mountainside in sheets. Thunder drowns the barking dogs. The floodlights flicker twice and die, a power surge from lightning, maybe 30 seconds of darkness at best. Kim does not hesitate. He sprints down the slope, crashes into the water, and swims. The current is faster now, swollen by rainfall, colder than before. His muscles are wrecked from weeks of hiding, his body running on adrenaline and nothing else. Halfway across, a searchlight flares back to life and sweeps the river behind him. Kim dives, lets the current drag him downstream, and kicks for the far bank with lungs screaming for air. He surfaces 20 meters beyond the searchlight's arc and keeps swimming. His hands hit Chinese mud. He pulls himself onto the bank, collapses face first into the earth, and stares at the sky. Rain washes over his face. He is alive and free, but he is alone. 3 weeks later, Kim lands at Incheon Airport in Seoul. National Intelligence Service agents are waiting at the gate. They do not offer congratulations. They offer handcuffs. What happens when a democracy punishes a man for doing what its own government could not? And what news is waiting for Kim inside a South Korean prison cell? South Korean law is clear. Entering North Korea without authorization is a crime under the National Security Act, punishable by up to 3 years in prison. The law does not care why you went. It does not care that you swam through freezing water, fought a soldier, hid in a crawl space for 3 weeks, or left your mother behind to save her life. The law cares only that you crossed a line drawn on a map 60 years ago. For 6 weeks, NIS agents interrogate Kim in a gray room with no windows. They want to know if he is a spy. They want to know if Pyongyang sent him. They want to know who his handlers are, what secrets he carried, what lies he is hiding. Kim answers the same way every time. I went to save my mother. Nothing more. Eventually, the agents believe him, or at least run out of reasons not to. The trial takes 1 afternoon. Kim stands in handcuffs while a judge reads the charges. The courtroom murmurs. Everyone can see the absurdity. A man who risked execution to rescue his family is now a criminal because he succeeded where the state failed. The prosecutor asks for leniency. The judge grants it. Kim is sentenced to 6 months in prison and 2 years probation. By the letter of the law, it is lenient. By any human measure, it is a punchline written by bureaucrats. Prison in South Korea bears no resemblance to prison in North Korea. Kim has a cot with a mattress, 3 meals a day, books in Korean and English, a window that looks out on a courtyard with trees. But comfort means nothing when you have abandoned the person you went to save. Every night he lies awake wondering if the Baobab found her. Every morning, he wakes to the same silence. No news, no word, nothing. 4 months into his sentence, a guard summons Kim to the warden's office for a phone call. The voice on the other end belongs to a broker, a different one. Someone from the network who finally believed Kim's story after hearing it confirmed by 3 separate sources. The broker is speaking fast, words tumbling over each other. Kim's mother is out. She crossed the Yalu 2 weeks ago. She made it through China. She is in Thailand right now, sitting in a refugee processing center, waiting for her transit visa to South Korea. Kim's knees buckle. He grips the edge of the warden's desk to keep from falling. "Amma," he whispers into the receiver. Her voice crackles through the static, thin, exhausted, unmistakably real. "My son, I'm here." She followed the route he mapped. She used the contacts he cultivated, the groundwork he laid during those 22 nights in the crawl space, the coded phone calls on the hillside, the broker negotiations that seemed to go nowhere. All of it paid off months after he left. His mission did not fail. It just took longer than he planned. On a cold morning in September, Kim Kang-woo walks out of prison. His mother is waiting at the gate, wrapped in a coat someone donated at a refugee shelter. She looks smaller than he remembers, older, her hair streaked with gray that was not there before. He crosses the distance in 3 steps and pulls her into his arms. Neither of them speaks. There is nothing to say that the embrace does not already communicate. They are survivors. They are free. They are together. The nightmares do not stop. Kim still wakes gasping, certain he is back in the crawl space, hearing boots on the floorboards. His mother still flinches at loudspeakers, conditioned by decades of propaganda blaring from village posts at 6 in the morning. The scars of North Korea do not heal cleanly, and some wounds stay open forever. But every morning, they sit across from each other at a small kitchen table in Seoul, drinking tea, watching the sun rise over a city where no one will execute them for hoping. Kim Kang-woo swam against the current twice, Once out of hell, once back in. He fought a soldier, evaded state security, and served prison time in 2 countries. He lost 3 years of his life, and every dollar he earned. And in the end, he kept a promise he made to his mother when he was 20 years old. I will come back for you. One man's stubbornness outran 2 governments and a river that was never supposed to flow in reverse. If you want to see what happens when another defector tries to escape, one who was just a kid and had to leave all his family behind, watch this next.